In this video, I will demonstrate how you can use Adobe Spark for free to create your own photo collage, highlighting the things that make you unique. Open up a browser and go to the Adobe Spark website. If you have an account already, you can sign in, but you can also click Start Now and sign in with Google, etc. If you do not have an account, you can sign up free with an email, and then you would create an account. I have an account already, so I will click Sign In, and it's been connected to my Google email, which is very convenient not to have to type it in every time. You may have to choose an account here, and a lot of schools and organizations have what is called an Enterprise ID. But if you're not sure, you can choose Adobe ID. I know that all the students at my organization have Adobe IDs, but photography, video, and design students have Enterprise IDs. My page will look different than yours. Scrolling down, you can see projects I've already created and some templates, and up above the different types of projects you can create. You'll want to create a custom artboard. You might have to click an arrow over or choose View All to see that option. Once you click on it, you can change that drop down so that the measurements are in inches. And you can make it the same size as a sheet of paper. We'll do 11 inches for the width and 8.5 for the height. Click Next. Now you'll have a blank artboard for your photos. If you signed up for a free account, you may have a logo on the bottom that I believe can be deleted. Spark has a lot of fun templates that I encourage you to use for inspiration. However, you might get locked into a set number of photos or a specific scale. Instead, we're going to cross over to the upper right side and click on this plus sign to get the option of adding a photo. You can connect to photos that are in your Adobe Library, Lightroom, Dropbox, or Google account, and you can upload your own photos from your device. Navigate to the location of your photo, choose your first image, and then click Open. Then you'll want to move it freely around the artboard. Loading the photo might take a while, so don't worry if it seems to be stuck. And if it ever does seem really stuck, just go back to your Adobe Spark homepage. It does a great job of auto-saving your work so you can pick right up. When it loads, you can grab it and move it around the artboard. You can also use the corner handles to resize the photo. And then over in the right, you have the options panel. Here you can do things like change the opacity to make the image more transparent. You can also flip it along the horizontal or vertical axis. And the crop tool is very handy. Clicking on it allows you to crop out parts of the image. And while you're in the crop tool, you can also scale the image. And in doing so, the crop will stay the same. And you have some preset crop sizes and shapes, like this rounded square, and then using the handles to change it to a more rectangular shape if you like. When you're done with this panel, be sure to click this check mark to finish the crop. Back in the image panel, you can change to pin the image to the background, meaning that it can't be moved. And you may have this feature, removing the background, which will remove the background from its subject area. It can be really fun. I'm going to undo that though for now. You can replace the image with something else, but with it selected, you can also do that up top here, and you can delete or duplicate the image too. I'm going to come back to the plus sign and upload more images, speeding this up since I know that it can take a bit of time to upload each, and I will apply that same rounded squared crop shape for some unity. Now, if you have people in one of your photos, make sure you have their permission before you post it publicly. If you need a specific photo, instead of Googling it online, you can click the plus sign and Photos, and then find free photos. There you will type in a category and Spark will bring up some options that you can use. Click on your options and choose to move it freely. And then when you select that, up top you have this info button. This is where you can see where the image came from. And if you're going to, say, try to make money off your creation, for example, you may want to check the copyright information here. Next, I'll demonstrate the order slider in the panel. Moving this slider to the left will move my library photo behind the photo in the center. Then I'll click on the Great Wall image and move the slider all the way to the right, and now it's on top of the center photo. So to repeat, moving the slider to the left sends the selected object backwards, and moving the slider to the right brings the object to the front. You can also click on an object, like the center photo here, and then use the arrow keys on your keyboard to nudge it into other directions. Once your images are organized the way you would like, come back over to the far right, click the Add button, and now we'll add some text. We'll start by adding our own text, and this collage is all about me, so I'll use this phrase. And then once it's loaded, you can click and grab the text box. You can move it, and you can resize it. Over in the Type panel, you can change your font family. Use this drop-down to see all of your choices of fonts, and pick one that you like the best. You can also change the alignment, left, center, or right. I'll go with center. And this one will capitalize all the letters and fit them into your text box. However, the undo button for this feature never works for me. So if you change your mind and don't want them capitalized, you might have to pick a different font or redo the text. Next, you can adjust the size, and you can either use the slider here, or you can click on the drop-down box and choose some of the preset numbers. You can also click into the box and type in a specific number and then hit the Enter or Return key on your keyboard. You can use this slider to change the spacing between each letter and this slider to change the spacing between each line. You can adjust the opacity or transparency, and you can change up the order just like we did with your images. On the right side, click on Shape, and it will bring up options for the background of your type. Let me move this over to the white space so I can demonstrate. So each one of these will change whether you have a colored background or a clear background. And you also have the option of having no backing shape whatsoever. Click on the color icon on the right-hand side, and you have lots of color options for your type. I'm going to unite my image by sticking with these pinks and purples today. You can also double click on the color icon to bring up some more advanced options, like typing in a specific hex code, or you can also use this eyedropper tool and select a specific color on your image, say this orange color here, and it will load it in. And in the panel, you can click in this box and you can change the tint, shade, and or saturation of a color. You can also pull out the text box to have it all on one line instead of having it spaced onto two. I'll click the plus sign to add some more text, but this time I'm going to use a preset. So you can scroll down and see all of the preset options where you can change what's written on the preset. So I'll start with this one here, click it, and it will load into my artboard. Once it appears, you can grab it, you can change the size and move it to a different location on your artboard. Double click on it to change the text, and here I'm using an adjective to add to how I characterize myself. I am a lifelong learner, and I'll demonstrate that Adobe Spark has spell check. So if you see the red line, you can go back and correct your spelling before clicking done. Now I will make it a little bit larger, grab it and move it on top of the photo that it corresponds with. You can also use this icon here to rotate the text. In the Type panel, you might see two different text styles depending on the preset that you picked. So when I click on color this time, you'll see two boxes because this preset is using one for the text and one for the shape box surrounding it. You can click to shuffle to switch between which is which, and you can pick another pair from the suggestions. I'm going to continue adding more text, and I'll use different presets for each, applying different phrases to each of the different pictures. I'm speeding this up so you don't have to watch me as I'm typing all of these in. I see myself as a bold traveler, a nimble artist, a trusted friend, and a joyful volunteer. And since this collage is all about you, you might want to add your name, maybe at least your first name, last initial. But I want to show you this time that the preset I picked doesn't match up with the number of letters that are in my name. So I'll scroll down over here. This is the preset that I used, Inner Beauty, and you can see that it just doesn't quite work. Sometimes you can adjust things to make it work. In this case, I'm just going to delete it and I'm going to pick another preset. In between my first and last name, see this little tab here? You can pull it to adjust the selected letters, or you can switch which style is applied to which part of your name. So that's what I meant when I said you sometimes can make little changes to the presets. And finally, go back to the plus sign, and this time we're going to choose one of my favorite things, icon. You will type into the search bar something like sun, and it gave me a ton of options for sun. Choose one and click on it, and it acts similarly to an image. You can resize and move it. You can also, over in the panel, change the opacity, and you can change the order amongst the other images in your collage. I'll speed this up as I go through and add more icons. I really enjoy this part of the process. You can use icons for other things, such as adding a frame to your overall image. So I just typed in square, for example, and picked one that wasn't solid. And then I'm resizing it, and you can position it into place. You can also use the square icon, this time a solid one, and you can resize it to cover the entire artboard. I'll change the color of it so you can see it a bit better. And then I'll move the opacity slider to make it more transparent to turn it into an overlay. However, remember it's now in front, so if you want to make adjustments to the images below, you'll have to move the overlay out of the way. Same goes with the frame sometimes. So I suggest adding frames and overlays at the very end. When you've got your rough draft done, go over to download, and you'll see your options. A PNG is best for graphics, and also the white areas of your artboard will be transparent if you aren't using an overlay. The JPEG is excellent for photos, and a PDF is great for printing. I'm going to choose JPEG since that is a very universal file type. Start the download, and then I'll click to open the JPEG, and you'll check to see that everything looks the way that you want it. Everything is placed and aligned and ordered. Now I maybe want to adjust that a little bit, so I'll close my JPEG, come back and make any fine-tune adjustments. You can do this as many times as you need to, downloading and rechecking. In this left corner, you might have noticed that Adobe Spark has been automatically saving your work, so you can go back to your home page by clicking on the Adobe Spark icon. Back on your home page, you'll see your recent project, and then these three dots give you many more options. You can share it, you can invite people to see your work, or publish it directly to social media. You can also duplicate or rename it, and this is my second version of this project, so I will add V2 to my collage name. And that is how you create a photo collage all about you using Adobe Spark.